You're also denying that Miss Hanson is your daughter.
50-50 chance.
Yeah, no.
My wife cheated on me while we were married with
Your
my
Honor.
older brother.
Hold on, let's get some order. Let's get some order.
And I didn't even find this out until 5 years after we were divorced, that rumors were going around that she'd slept with my brother.
Well, 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 folks, it's time for another wild ride on paternity court, and this one's a doozy. We've got a classic case of family drama, with a woman named Misty Lynn Holshoe claiming to be the long-lost daughter of the Howard family. But the Howards are calling Misty a delusional troublemaker who's just trying to stir up trouble.
Miss Holshoe, you claim your mother had an affair with the defendant's father, and today you're in court to prove that he is your biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Miss Howard, you and your sisters say Miss Holshoe is a delusional troublemaker whose promiscuous mother destroyed your family and ruined your home.
Ms. Holshoe has got some pretty convincing evidence, like her name being in the family obituary and some of the Howard's relatives telling her she might be related. But the Howard sisters, Creason, Diana, Ray, and Kelly, aren't buying it.
That she possibly might be related to us.
That's not true, Your Honor.
That is true.
I had a relationship with Mr. Howard.
No.
No.
Through the years after I found out that he was my father. And the only reason
No.
I'm even wanting to know that he is my father is because I've recently learned that I have terminal cancer, and I'd like to have family history.
Now, the Howards have some pretty serious accusations of their own. They claim Misty's mom was a real piece of work, a promiscuous woman who destroyed their family and ruined their home. Ouch. Seems like there's some serious bad blood between these two sides, and they're not afraid to air their dirty laundry in front of the whole courtroom.
Growing up, did you ever hear about Miss Holshoe?
Never heard her.
Did anyone ever mention her?
Never.
Never.
Yes, one time when I was 19 years old, my dad, he was in from California. My parents were already divorced. We were in from California. He had us all meet him out at an old country bar.
One of the biggest bombshells comes when Diana, one of the Howard sisters, reveals that their dad actually did tell her that Misty was his daughter. But the other sisters ain't buying it, saying their dad was a bit of a ladies' man and probably just messed around with Misty's mom. Yikes, talk about a complicated family tree.
Mentioned her till the day he died.
He had never
Ever.
mentioned it to any of the rest of us.
So your dad said it to you?
Yes.
Your Honor, I lived
So
with my...
wait a minute, if he told you, why don't you believe it?
Don't want to speak ill, but I mean, my dad he's dead. Her mother has passed away. It's obvious my dad messed around on my mom. It wasn't just her mother.
And then there's Kelly, the other Howard sister, who's actually on Misty's side. She says their dad straight up told her that Misty was his daughter, and she's willing to stand by Misty's corner. But the other sisters? They're not having it, calling Kelly a blacklisted member of the family who's just trying to stir up trouble. This family's got some serious issues to work out.
We had packed up our things and moved out because my father had gone to at the bar where her mother was working and caught her cheating on him. That gave me
No topic.
the thought that obviously her mother probably has no idea who any of her children belong to.
As the drama unfolds, we learn that Misty's even crashed a Howard family reunion, only to get chased out by the angry sisters. And the Howards? They're adamant that Misty's just making the whole thing up, saying she's never been invited to any of their family gatherings.
I do know that she thinks that she's our sister. So I asked, and he said no. My mother was the only woman that my dad, at that time, early in the...
So you never heard any rumors about your father cheating?
When we got older.
Right.
When we were
As
older.
teenagers.
Right.
As teenagers.
Only as teenagers.
But the real kicker comes when the DNA results are finally revealed. Turns out, Misty Lynn Holshoe is indeed the half-sister of the Howard sisters. The courtroom erupts in chaos, with the Howards looking stunned and Misty finally getting the validation she's been searching for. But just when you think it's all settled, Judge Lake drops a bombshell of her own.
Diana Howard and Misty Lynn Holshoe is 98.1%. You know, it's very sad from where I sit to see this venom.
I have no problem
deep
with
things.
them. It's them. They hate me. I have no problem whatsoever with them women.
Miss Lindsay is a feisty grandma who's sick and tired of two men who've been playing games with her daughter's life. She straight up accuses Mr. Word of trying to control her daughter Crystal when they were together. Apparently, he was still seeing another woman on the side and would only let Crystal talk to her own mom when he was out with his buddies.
You say you're sick and tired of two men whom you believe are using your grandson as an excuse to walk in and out of your daughter's life. Now, you're here today along with your daughter, Crystal, to learn which of them fathered Austin.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Word, you claim you want to be in Austin's life, but you say you're unsure you're his biological father.
Yes.
Now, Crystal chimes in and confirms that she and Mr. Word were definitely an item, but she also admits to sleeping with another guy around the same time. Crystal says she was honest with both men about the situation, but Mr. Word claims he didn't find out about the other guy until after the baby was born. Something doesn't add up here.
Only could talk to her.
She talked to
when
her
he
daughter
was out
every
with his
day,
friends.
Your Honor.
When he was out with his friends.
She talked to her daughter every day. She only stay a week at my house, and then she'll go home to her house.
No, when they first got together, he manipulated her and told her, "Oh, your mom is only telling you stuff about me because she don't want you to be with me."
Yes, you are jealous.
Yada, yada.
Grandma Lindsay is not holding back, y'all. She's got a whole list of grievances against Mr. Word, like the time he made Crystal, who was 8.5 months pregnant, sit outside in the scorching heat for 3 hours before he came home. Apparently, he also took Crystal's coat and shoes so she couldn't leave. Dang, that's some serious control freak behavior right there.
I go to work every day.
No, Your Honor.
I try my best to support. Austin as much as I can, Your Honor. And you can ask Crystal that.
Your Honor,
on Halloween.
I was living with him at the time that I got pregnant. I was bouncing back from his house to my house. I would stay there with him for a week, and then I'd go home for a week.
That's exactly what he said. Okay, so we agree on that point.
Yes.
Now we've got Mr. Jones, the other potential baby daddy, joining the fray. He admits that he and Crystal were in a relationship before, but he claims he didn't know about Mr. Word or that Crystal was sleeping with anyone else. Sure, buddy. Grandma Lindsay ain't buying it, though. She's convinced Mr. Jones is just as much of a deadbeat as Mr. Word.
Said you would be there. You were
We planned to have him. We planned to. I was on birth control, and I got off of birth control because we both agreed that we wanted to have a kid together and we wanted to start a family together.
That's true.
All right, so when did you find out that there could be someone else?
After the baby was born.
Judge Lake lays it all out there. This court case isn't about whether anyone likes each other. It's about little Austin knowing who his real dad is. And Grandma Lindsay is not messing around. She's made it clear that if either of these guys wants to be in her grandson's life, they better step up and prove it.
You were living with this doubt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you still bond with Austin?
I tried my best to, Your Honor, as much as I could.
Your Honor, in the 2 years that little boy
I took care of her when she was pregnant.
You took care of her when she was pregnant?
Until she was
8.5 months pregnant. And he calls her and says, "Come down and see me."
Okay,
so
me and
she
my
goes
mom,
down and sees him at 100-degree weather. She's 8.5 months pregnant.
All right, the moment of truth has arrived. The DNA results are in and the judge announces who baby Austin's father is. But wait, Mr. Word doesn't even stick around to hear the verdict. He just gets up and leaves. Wow, talk about a dramatic exit. But hey, the show must go on.
Mr. Word, you are the father. Oh, he's leaving. There is a problem because I'm not sure, Ms. Lindsay, daughter, if you are standing up for yourself the way that you should in relationships. Every time you get into trouble, your mother has to bail you out.
Ms. Benskin is here because she says her 4-year-old daughter Kensley is Mr. Haskett's kid, but Mr. Haskett is not having it. He claims Ms. Benskin is just a money-hungry liar and that Kensley ain't his. Looks like these two have quite the history, and it's about to get messy in that courtroom.
Ms. Benskin,
yes, sir.
You have opened your case today because you say the defendant refuses to accept that your 4-year-old daughter Kensley is biologically his. You are here to prove he is her father before he gets locked up for unpaid child support. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Haskett.
Turns out Mr. Haskett is already behind on child support for Kensley to the tune of $7,000 or $8,000, and he's already been to jail for it. Yikes, this guy is really in hot water. Ms. Benskin says she's here to help him out, to get the paternity confirmed so he doesn't end up back in the slammer.
Me back and fill me in on those facts.
Because we had a court date set, and first it had got changed.
It didn't get changed. He didn't show up.
No.
He called in. He did not show up.
That is not how it happened. The first one was rescheduled, and then we had to go again, and then they said that they changed it, and then he rescheduled it.
I wrote him on Facebook.
Now Judge Lake is trying to get to the bottom of this. Apparently Mr. Haskett and Ms. Benskin had a little fling a while back, but it wasn't anything serious. They weren't even using protection, and boom, Kensley came along. But Mr. Haskett is still insisting he's not the father, even though he's already been named the legal dad in court. This guy's memory seems a little fuzzy, huh?
Like he was set in jail. He had bonded out right
I don't care if my pinky toe stepped foot in jail, I ain't gonna forget it. So were you arrested for failure to pay child support?
No, I had to turn myself in for failure to appear.
Okay, so you had to turn yourself in, and then you went through the process, and then you were bonded out.
Yes.
Things take an even crazier turn when Ms. Benskin's friend, Ms. Scott, chimes in. She claims Mr. Haskett told her that some other guy had been tested and ruled out as the dad, so he must be Kinsley's father. But Ms. Benskin says that's a big fat lie. She never told anyone else was tested. Oof, the plot thickens.
So you went to a party. What was the nature of the relationship in your estimation, Mr. Haskett?
Friendship.
Just a friend?
Yes.
This was not you trying to start a relationship?
It started out to be something different, but...
And Margaret came back into the picture, and he wanted to be back with her, which I understand. They have a daughter together, but doesn't mean he has to push my daughter off to the side.
Okay.
Judge Lake is not impressed with all the back and forth. She grills Ms. Benskin about whether there's any other possible father, and Ms. Benskin swears up and down that Mr. Haskett is the one. But then Judge Lake catches Ms. Benskin in a lie about telling someone else was tested.
How long after this did you realize you were pregnant?
6 weeks and 3 days.
Okay, 6 weeks and 3 days. And at the point you found that out, did you contact Mr. Haskett?
More than once, and I got blocked on Facebook. I called his family members, and they knew everything about it, and they are still in Kinsley's life. He just chooses not to be.
So you've talked to his family members, they accept Kinsley, you told him you were pregnant.
Now Judge Lake is showing a photo of baby Mr. Haskett next to baby Kinsley, and she says the resemblance is uncanny. Ms. Scott seems to disagree, but Judge Lake is convinced these two little ones could be twins. It's getting harder and harder for Mr. Haskett to deny this paternity.
2 months we lived down there. He did not see her, not one time.
This beautiful child is potentially living 3 doors down from her biological father. So, Mr. Haskett, I want to ask you, has there ever been an occasion where you believe or been told that someone else is the child's biological father, or there may be a question of paternity? How did you all get to the place?
I was at the bar.
Finally, the moment of truth arrives. Judge Lake has the DNA results, and she's about to reveal whether Mr. Haskett is Kinsley's dad or not. The tension in the courtroom is palpable as everyone holds their breath. Will Mr. Haskett be proven the father, or will this whole case be turned on its head?
Mr. Haskett, you are the father.
Now how to, so we get to see her, right?
Yeah, I told you guys went for visitation.
Without you.
We've gotten the answer. Now, as we go forward, we have to do so in a responsible way. This bickering back and forth.
Ms. Percival has been searching for her father her whole life. She says Mr. Hansen is the guy, but he's not having it. He swears up and down that there's no way she's his daughter, even though she claims he's known about her since she was 6 years old. Yikes, talk about a strained relationship.
Ms. Percival, you say for the past 31 years your father has never been willing to accept you as his biological daughter.
Correct, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Hansen, you claim you did not sleep with Ms. Percival's mother, and there is no way she is your daughter.
That's right, Your Honor. She's not my daughter.
But wait, there's more. Turns out there's another woman, Ms. Vielpando, who's also claiming Mr. Hansen as the father of her child. And get this, her kid is only a month older than Ms. Percival's. Looks like Mr. Hansen was a busy guy back in the day, huh?
I was with the other woman at the time she was conceived, so there's no way she could be my daughter. I am not her father, Your Honor.
And you seem pretty confident about that.
I guarantee it.
When were you told that he was your father?
When I was 6 years old.
At 6 years old?
Yes, ma'am.
And from that point on, you had in your mind, this is your father.
Now Mr. Hansen is insisting he never cheated on his wife, Ms. Merchant, who's also in the courtroom. But Ms. Vielpando is telling a different story, saying she and Mr. Hansen were going back and forth, and he was even calling her mom a whore. Ouch, that's gotta hurt. And
so strongly that he's the father.
I'm not sure why he doubts it, because of the simple fact I was with him, and I told her, we kept going back and forth. We were seeing each other back and forth. And then I had met somebody too, and I was sleeping with him. And then he was going back and forth to Tracy,
And then Your Honor,
me.
The day that I met him, what he told me was, there is no way I can be your father when I asked him for the DNA test.
And let's not forget about Ms. Hansen, Mr. Hansen's other daughter, who's also in the mix. Turns out Mr. Hansen has been in and out of her life, and she's felt like she's never been good enough. Man, this family's got some serious issues to work through.
And were you clear with him when you were pregnant, this is your child?
Yes, I did tell him, and he told me no, I wasn't.
She don't even look like me.
I look like Jessica and I look like Teresa, and Jessica for sure is your kid?
Yeah, Jessica's mine, yeah.
And we look identical.
Did you ever ask him for a DNA test?
No, because I never seen him around.
But the real kicker is when Judge Lake brings in Ms. Merchant, Mr. Hansen's wife. Apparently, she knew all about Ms. Percival and even knew that her daughter, Ms. Hansen, was born just a month after Ms. Percival. Looks like the plot just thickened, folks.
Huh? Hold on 1 second before you say what you have to say. State your name for the court.
Tracy Merchant.
You're Ms. Merchant, and your name?
I'm Tracy Hansen.
All right. So, Ms. Merchant, you were married to Mr. Hansen.
Yes.
At the time that Ms. Percival was conceived.
Yes, I knew that she was born. I knew she was his when she was born.
Now, Mr. Hansen is trying to backtrack, saying he's only really worried about Ms. Hansen being his kid. But Judge Lake ain't having it. She calls him out for his inconsistencies and makes it clear that he's got to own up to whatever's going on.
You cheated on me.
So, Mr. Hansen,
yes, Your Honor.
You're also denying that Ms. Hansen is your daughter.
50-50 chance.
Yeah, no.
My wife cheated on me while we were married with
Your
my
Honor.
older brother.
Hold on, let's get some order. Let's get some order.
And I didn't even find this out until 5 years after we were divorced, that rumors were going around that she'd slept with my brother. I confronted my brother and he told me yes, he did.
Judge Lake has heard enough and she's ready to receive the almighty envelope. And when the DNA results finally come in, it's an absolute shocker.
Ms. Hansen, Mr. Hansen, you are her father.
No,
yeah.
I love you too. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're most certainly welcome. You seem relieved, Mr. Hansen.
Yes, that's the only one I was worried about. I apologize. I don't mean to be inconsiderate or ruthless, but I know the other one's not my daughter. I'm sorry.
Well, 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 looks like we've got ourselves a real mess on our hands here, folks. Miss Bargy, a married woman, found herself caught in a tangled web of deceit, cheating on her husband with her ex-boyfriend, Mr. Lawson. Now, the two men are both convinced they're the father of her 2-month-old daughter, McKenna.
Your husband and the man you cheated with, they both think they're your daughter's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor. I don't know where else to turn.
All right.
I want her to be a part of her father's life, but right now I don't know who her father is, so I feel horrible about it. I should have fixed my marriage, but instead I ran off and done some things that I shouldn't have.
I understand, and we are not perfect people.
Miss Bargy admitted to Judge Lake that she had an affair with Mr. Lawson while still married to Mr. Bargy. It seems like Miss Bargy was trying to save her marriage, but ended up making a huge mess instead. And now, poor little McKenna is caught in the middle of this paternity triangle.
You admit you cheated on your husband, and now you are caught in a paternity triangle, with both men believing they fathered your 2-month-old daughter, McKenna.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are hoping today's DNA results prove that your husband is her father, so you can save your marriage. Is this correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Bargy.
Yes, sir.
You have fallen in love with McKenna, and you're desperately hoping.
Now Mr. Lawson, the ex-boyfriend, is also convinced he's the father. He was there for the whole pregnancy and even attended the birth, but the timeline is all kinds of messed up, with Miss Bargy giving multiple conception dates and due dates. It's like she's playing some kind of twisted game of guess the baby daddy. Yikes. Talk about a complicated situation.
Tell us how we got here.
I was with my husband. We had been married and we had been having some problems, and then I started talking to Calvin again, and then from there, I had an affair on my husband, and now I'm in a mess to where I do not know who her father is, and this is why we're here today, because I want to find out, because McKenna deserves to know the truth.
Mr. Bargy, the poor husband, was completely blindsided by all of this. He found out about the pregnancy through a mutual friend on Facebook, and then had to confront his wife about it. The guy's got grit, though, and he's been stepping up as a dad, even though he's not sure if McKenna is his...
For 10 to 12 hours a day, I take take 5 minutes out of my time, busy or not at work, video call, sit here like that right there. I wake her up when I get home. And as soon as she hears my voice, she's smiling. And as soon as she hears the car pull in, she knows I'm home.
So that's your baby. In your heart, that's your baby.
That is my baby.
Now Mr. Lawson, the ex-boyfriend, hasn't exactly been the most involved dad. Miss Bargy says she's given him plenty of chances to see McKenna, but he's always making excuses, saying he doesn't have the money or the time.
You reincarnate?
Well, I'm trying to put it into words. We got back together because we have been together on and off for 5 years.
Oh, you reconnect?
Yes.
Okay, and you started having sex as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's where we are now, because the conception dates, I was given 3 different conception dates and 3 different due dates.
Miss Bargy is really feeling the weight of this whole situation. She's hoping and praying that the DNA results will show Mr. Bargy is the father so she can save her marriage and give McKenna a stable, loving home. But you can tell she's torn because she also wants her daughter to have a relationship with her biological dad, whoever that may be.
So it was you, Mr. Bargy, who said, listen, if this story is true, these dates add up to me being McKenna's biological father.
Yes, because there was multiple times that we slept together.
So well, wait, I thought you were living with Mr. Lawson.
Yes.
But you were cheating on Mr. Lawson with your husband?
We had slept together one time, and that was due to the fact.
The DNA results are in, and Judge Lake is about to reveal the big news. You can just feel the tension in the air as she reads the envelope. Who's going to be named as McKenna's biological father, Mr. Bargy or Mr. Lawson? Let's find out.
The biological father is Mr. Lawson. You are McKenna's biological father, Mr. Lawson.
That's okay. I'm still gonna raise her.
Do you want to be in her life?
Yes, Your Honor.
You do. The fact that he wants to be a part of her life, you guys gotta figure this out.
But I won't.
How, Mr. Bargy, okay.